Welcome to Friends of Disney. We're friends who talk about Disney. And this week, we're talking about the first season, third episode of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Which, if you guys don't remember, Megan was not here for the last episode.
It was a real awkward time.
It was real awkward. We had to deal with Photoshop Megan. Welcome, real Megan, for the next episode of Zack and Cody.
Thank you. I have a feeling that there might be more Photoshop Megan in the future, but I'll do my best to be here. Also, this is a blanket. I'm not wearing like a toga or something, for those of you who are watching.
Well,
who wants to explain this week's episode?
Two cute boys.
Ooh.
no.
And they're rich, like London Tipton rich.
Yes, two cute boys are checking into the Tipton, and London is smitten with one of them, and then Maddie is smitten with the other.
First she wasn't, then she was, and Maddie goes into a whole lying spree.
Yes.
And then Zack and Cody are involved.
And Zack and Cody are caught up because, it's a scheme, and who's better to scheme than twins. So, first impressions of the episode, you guys?
Filler episode for sure.
When we were sitting watching this episode together, Sean and I was like, man, this is such a plot that happens over and over and over in Disney Channel and like Nickelodeon, where it's like, oh my gosh, I really like this guy, but he won't like me for the real me, so I have to pretend to be who I'm not. Gets caught in the act of being not who they really are, and they're like, oh my gosh, I like you for who you really are. And they're like, and then the females are like, oh my gosh, really? He likes me? And then it's surprise because they are like nice humans that tend to be pretty, that they are likable.
I thought it was a funny episode. Like, I won't lie.
I thought it was a filler episode.
It was such a filler.
I can't see this show having filler episodes.
But when you're watching something though, and like you doze off, but then you wake up and you know exactly where you've been.
Kind of.
That's where I felt like this episode was.
Because Zack and Cody is not a story-driven show. It doesn't have an overarching story. It's a sitcom about two twins in a hotel. And this episode just happened to be focused more on Maddie.
Listen, I love Sharpay Evans. I love Ashley Tisdale. I don't care for Maddie. I know she's like the reverse trope of like, she's a smart blonde.
I think I actually like Maddie better.
But
she's practical.
I mean, she is practical, but like,
I feel like we're looking at Maddie really early in the show. Remember, we're still haven't hit character development yet.
I know. I just don't particularly care for her in this episode. Maybe it's because I was confident enough in myself, or did not want a boyfriend. Who was like, I don't need to prove to myself for anyone or anything. And then I met Sean, and then I didn't like him, and then eventually we started dating, and that was awkward. But
and now you're married. How's that?
You're lucky I like you.
But
I don't know. I didn't find what London and Maddie were going through relatable. I related more to Zack and Cody being schemers, and like the most like rebellious thing I did in high school was with my own money buy my own 3DS. Yeah.
I hate that story so much.
You know what my most rebellious thing was.
Jonelle is like...
Check out the Cinderella episode if you want to know about Jonelle's...
crazy escapades in high school.
Jonelle has like this giant list. And then there's me who has like a little asterisk.
See...
I don't know.
I thought it was a funny episode. Especially with how different characters got involved. Like... This is like, I think, the first episode we really see, like, Zack kind of crushing on Maddie.
I thought it was Cody this entire time.
Oh, no, it definitely Zack. Like, Zach's obviously crushed on Maddie, but then he still helps her in this lie. You see the mom, like, comforting, like, oh yeah, you really need to tell him the truth. And eventually plays along with it in the restaurant.
The mom was my favorite character throughout this whole entire episode. That and Esteban.
I love it. You can't not love Esteban. He's just so great.
He's just a cinnamon roll.
But obviously, a trope in this episode has to do with your taste in romantic partners.
Yeah, I wonder who my taste is.
Oh, that's why I wanted to make sure you were in this episode. So,
Right.
what were your guys' types of guys in high school?
Okay, listen. I want to put it straight out there. I dated one guy in high school. He was gay.
Same, but mine wasn't gay.
Mine was gay. That's a whole other story for a whole other time. But I definitely had a group of friends who we would talk about like our types of guys were. And let me tell you, my type of guy. Okay. And then maybe this episode I can get your guys' thoughts on my mom's dating role.
Sure.
Okay, my type of guy was shorter than me. Because there's no love for short guys. He's taller than me, by the way. No musicians. I was like, if a guy ever wrote me a love song, I would break up with them on the spot. He happened to go to school for music.
The odds are against you.
Someone who was not from Washington. I was like, people from Washington suck. I want someone different. He's from Washington. So like the opposite of Sean.
You also didn't want someone with facial hair.
Oh yes, I like don't to everyone who's listening with facial hair. That's great for you. I don't like kissing that. That's my honest opinion.
I'm literally the opposite of her type, and she married me, so that's why I was super excited for this episode.
Thanks.
Well, as we know, I don't think I mentioned it on the I probably mentioned the boyfriend I had on the podcast, but I won't go in full depth about this guy because he doesn't deserve that. He's trash. In the trash.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, I also only had one boyfriend that I dated throughout all of high school. And, God, it was fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, censored mouth.
I haven't censored a single episode since the first one. You're good.
Awesome.
Because of that one joke.
Not even a joke.
Okay.
No, I just got tired of having to watch through the whole videos and hearing my own voice.
You're gonna have to get used to it soon. Yeah, so I only dated one guy, never cheated on him. I was loyal AF. And then realized I don't like country boys.
Same. I
don't like rednecks.
Same.
I like a guy who can respect me.
Same.
It's sad that that's a type.
I like a guy who, I like facial hair guys. I like guys with the whole beard that they actually take care of.
Listen.
They are cute.
Listen,
And
they're
then you
cute.
can pet them.
They're cute from a distance. I'll give you that. But I'm like, I don't want to touch it. I have a lot of sensory issues. So I'm like, the second that comes like here, I'm like done with
But
it.
if they like actually take care of it, it's soft. And then you can play with it and like brush it. It's fun. And then I also kind of realized that I'm like more into like men who have status in their job. And maybe this is because I'm a business.
You like a man in uniform?
Yeah, I like one who is business affiliated, like I am, and knows what he's doing for his job. And Mr. Chef, who hasn't talked.
Should I fight Mr. Chef?
Yes.
Okay.
We brought up Mr. Chef many times in this podcast, and for some reason, he's a ghosting bitch.
He has ghosted me. For the second time. So.
We fight Mr. Chef. Okay.
Second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder and a little bit worse.
Generally, though, he does fit my type of what I like to see. But the points where it lacks in what I need is the communication. The communication.
Preach it.
And the consistency.
Preach it, sister.
Just tell me, like, if you can't, I don't care if you don't text me for a few days, but just tell me why.
Tell me why.
Because I'm also not going to text you for a few days, and I will tell you why. And it's because I have so much anxiety, and I'm done with you.
Literally me.
And also just follow through your plans. Come on. Guys suck. I'm sorry. You're fine. We're bros.
As a representative of the male community at this table, men suck.
And this is why I'm bi.
Understandable, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I look for in relationships?
Commitment.
I haven't been in a
Consistency.
relationship since basically my high school ex because no one has really fit the category correctly.
That's fair.
No one has intertwined in my life the way I would like it to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Remind me to tell you.
So I just want respect in someone who apparently is going to know me, but I haven't found that right person yet. So I guess I'm not the best person to answer this question.
Sean,
Mm-hmm.
you threw the question at us. Who was your ideal?
I was wondering if you were going to throw it at me. So, looking at the relationships I have had over my lifetime prior to Megan, they're a little all over the place. So I don't want to say I had a specific type, but if I had to go for like basics of like what I would want out of a relationship, you gotta be positive. I'm sorry, I cannot handle a negative person at all. They harsh my mellow too much.
Someone who's more positive than they are negative.
Yes, like you're allowed to have bad days, all those things, but like
And trust
I
me,
am a very positively charged person, and I deal with a lot of negatively charged people at work, and it drives me insane how much they confuse my general positive chargedness for naivety and things like that. And it just drives me insane when someone is pessimistic and just has that harsh negative charge. And I won't lie, I don't know if they have to be able to tolerate me being a Disney nerd. Like, if you cannot tolerate my love for Disney, which is the reason we have this podcast, is all of our loves for Disney, then there's no way we can be in a relationship. But, like, generally you just gotta be, like, it's really basic, like, nice, kind, loving.
I feel like we're all generally in the same area, just different people.
yeah.
Like, just don't be a bitch.
Thanks. That means I'm not one.
Except for wanting to throw a shoe at him. But
She's been wanting to throw a shoe at me for years, it's fine.
Okay. Fun story about me. I used to have these thick heel boots in the winter. They were like really sturdy, and before these two came into my old friend group in college, I would threaten and throw shoes at people. I don't know why.
For being stupid.
For being stupid, yeah. It wasn't just like, I don't like you, throw a shoe. My friend once made a sexist comment, and I just took off my shoe and threw it him across the table, and he got a little bit of a bruise, and we all laughed about it, and he was like, yeah, I deserve that. And I was like, yes, you do. Do it again, and I'll throw the other boot.
But, so, sorry, I like, as soon as I watched this episode, I knew what we were going to be talking about.
Okay, so can we talk about my mom's dating rule?
yeah.
Yeah, what's this?
Let's go on about our parents' dating rule in general.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, so my mom had a very specific rule for me and my sister. She once told me the hardest thing a man can do, ever, is ask out a girl.
I remember the rule now.
He's coming back to Sean, he's like vivid. So if a guy asks you out, you must say yes, unless one of two things are already applicable. I added my own third later. One, let's say that, I don't know, Sean asks me out on a Saturday at 9 o'clock, like this upcoming Saturday. I have a doctor's appointment. that Saturday. So I cannot go with you, but I would be required to reschedule time with him. So like, that's number one. Two, you must say, oh, unless you just know and have verifiable proof that he is bad. Like, he's an F-boy. He's going around. You're just going to be one of his concubines. So that's great. And three.
Mr. What's his name at Barnes and Noble?
Oh, yep, that guy. And then the third one that I added later was like, you already had a significant other. My mom didn't have faith that me and my sister would actually get significant others and be asked out by another human. But yeah, this got me into a lot of trouble in college because guys would ask me out and I'd be like, no. And then I'd tell my mom later and she'd be like, but you're supposed to say yes. That's the hardest thing a man can do. And I'm like, no. There are harder things men have to do. And I know, like, rejection sucks. However, I can name, like, 5 things that are harder than asking out. So what do you like?
As the resident male, I can see what your mom is trying to do. However, I still think it's stupid.
It is
Like,
very stupid, yeah.
being as someone who didn't really get into like a lot of relationships through high school or anything,
I just wasn't allowed to date until I was 18.
like I hate to say it, I always have wanted to be the person that was more on the old-fashioned kind of stuff, like asking a girl out on a date, go out to dinner and stuff, like the classic date you ever always think of. I've always wanted to more or less have that kind of date. I've yet to ever do so, sorry. And so,
I took him on our first date, by the way.
to be fair, that was a great first date. It's to the Lion King the musical, so.
On Broadway.
The first time I saw that, I was like 5.
But
It's so good.
growing up, like obviously we live in a technology age, so I can remember frequent times where the asking of someone out was over text, and I cringe myself at the fact that I did that.
A couple swipes for people that are single like me.
But I think that rule is stupid.
No.
You should not be required to say yes to a guy. There's a lot of unknowns about that, and if you want to, then go ahead. You should always have a right to say no. A guy does not get special privilege.
I agree. It would have been really awkward if I was a lesbian. I'm sorry.
Oh, speaking of which.
So, your dating role first?
Oh, yeah. My mom's dating rule was I was not allowed to date until I was 18. Got my first boyfriend at 13.
You see, my mom was trying to get me to date so hard. She was like, oh, is that a cute boy? And I was like, I just stared at her.
Well, I know why my mom didn't want me to date until I was 18 because babies! She was, yeah.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
She was worried I was going to get knocked up, which, you know,
Has it happened yet?
it has definitely not happened yet.
So, for me, my parents never had any kind of conversation around dating with me at all. Never had any conversation about stuff that starts to occur with puberty at all.
Man, it sounds like you were at free will.
I was at free will.
That sounds kind of incredible because I've had the Birds and the Bees talk with my folks at least 8 different times, and I guarantee you that only 2 of those times my dad was over. Actually, those 2 times where it was only me and my mom.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's go all the way back to elementary school.
The days where you could play on the playground.
Yes.
The days where I beat up boys for fun.
Technically, elementary school was when I had my first girlfriend. And literally, when she asked me to be her boyfriend, I was literally like, what's a boyfriend?
I remember that.
It took a decent amount of time to actually learn what an actual boyfriend was.
It's a friend, not a boy.
I thought it was just one that holds your hand. That was me in elementary school.
Oh.
Can we hold
And
hands?
Ew, cooties!
But like,
Cooties.
but like, my parents never really had any rules surrounding dating for me. Like, it was a very laissez-faire approach that I did.
Laissez-faire.
Tomato, tomato.
Jonelle said it correctly.
Tomato, tomato. I couldn't
Law has changed me.
tell. Anyways, they had a very relaxed approach to sex, to dating, all of that. So,
My mom was very open about sex, but didn't want me to have a boyfriend.
My parents were probably too open with me about sex.
Same.
To the point where I got uncomfortable.
Oh, same, 100%.
No.
It was horrible.
I do remember having this one conversation with my parents. I was like 9. And we were talking, like me, my mom, and my dad were all talking about like when I was going to get married. And I remember I was a huge introvert for most of my life until COVID. And so I was like, okay, so this is what's going to happen when you get married. Remember, I'm a 9-year-old. Okay, so we're going to go get married, have wedding. Then I need full 24 hours to just be by myself. Because I didn't know that, like, what, like, using your social battery was at the time. I was like, I'm just going to be tired. And then I need a full other day just to think. I'm not having intimate relations with another human being after that. And my parents were like, Megan, no. Your husband's going to want to have sex with you, like, right after the wedding, right? And I looked at them and I was like, not my husband.
I can say, well, that's probably, I think that's accurate.
Let's see, after our actual wedding, we played Smash Bros. To say that we
We
smashed on our wedding day.
And then we watched 6.
And then we watched Six the Musical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Highly recommend the musical, by the way. But it's weird to think that we were like how different each of us are, how different like we were raised with the concept of relationships, and how different our relationship experience is.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I had to go through hell and back in that 4 years to realize that I want simple and respect.
I literally did my learning through movies and TV shows by Disney.
I learned not to date a gay guy. He's still is attracted to you, y'all.
But so in this episode, we once again see the trope of lying about oneself to get the guy because he won't like me if he finds out the real me spiel.
Oh, speaking of, I wanted to go on a little tangent about that.
Oh yeah, go.
I have obviously dated, not dated, but have definitely been with a few men. That is one thing I see men do so frequently is lie about themselves.
Their height, if they have a dog.
Well, also, like, and then, like, as I got to know them, realized their moms were making them lie about themselves. So, like, essentially what you were doing, what your mom wanted you to do was, like, to always say yes. Their moms are having the boys, like, try to make them always attractive to always say yes to any woman that comes into their life.
Okay, 1, that's bad.
Yeah.
And 2, just like any good book character or TV show character, we like some flaws. Like, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite parts about Sean. He loves music. He loves it very deeply. He was a music major in college. In college, he tried so hard to have conversations with me about music. And at one point, I just had to tell him, dude, shut up. I have no idea what you're talking about. You cannot explain this concept.
It just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, and he also cannot tell jokes. Just save his life. He'll be like, Megan, this really funny thing happened. And so I'll listen to the entire story and be like, what was the funny part?
Before this turns into a back on Sean episode.
He's allowed to like tell me my flaws. But like those are some of the things I love most about him.
I can't tell jokes.
You can't tell.
Generally, women look for people who can tell jokes.
Yeah, I look
Here's
for
the thing.
I
my sense of humor is not the typical joke. I can't do stories very well.
He cannot.
I cannot do the classic setup punchline joke.
He cannot.
I am most funny with roasting
With
and
roasting.
being dramatic.
And the funny, like, sounds he makes.
I'm really good at sound effects.
Yeah, so, like, that's where his humor comes out. But, like, if he tries to tell you a funny story, you're not gonna think it's funny. And I think that's so funny. And I think that's so endearing. It's okay. You can throw him back after. It's fine.
The thing I love most of, like, the thing that's your flaw is, like, too cute, okay? But, like...
The thing I love about you, too, is that you're my friends.
Oh my gosh, same. Oh my gosh.
And that we listen to Hebrew music and eat McChickens.
Hold on, I'm lost here. We're sitting here talking about flaws, and you sussed over your friend. I'm confused here.
Oh, I did not point out a flaw. Shoot. Hold up. I gotta think about a flaw of my friends.
We don't see each other enough.
We're seeing each other enough now. Like,
Yes.
this
stop.
podcast has actually allowed us to see each other more, which is honestly
It's
a
nice thing.
silver lining of this.
Oh my
It's like, it's so nice.
Because after that, yeah, we definitely did not see each other enough.
No.
But,
Oh, speaking of which, I also want to tell you about the new Mean Girls movie after this.
Okay, good to know.
no, so, on what you were saying about, like, you know, you have,
What were you saying?
The moms making
Oh.
men.
like, basically catfishing. It's catfishing.
Yeah,
It's
a different-
clickbait.
like 100%. There
It's-
was this guy I was seeing, and
Brandon. We're going to call him Brandon.
sure, that works. Him and his girlfriend had broken up, but they also just had a baby. Messy whole situation there in
Come
itself.
on, Brandon.
Hi.
Get your act together.
Highly don't recommend. But he was like, I actually talked to him before like things happened, you know, because we actually knew each other, and you know, I went over to his place, you know, because he was like, hey, I need someone to talk to, and I was like, sure. Next time I came over, well, it was not just that. Anyways, he then goes on afterwards about like his life and like how his mom wants him to like portray himself to be attractable for women, and like how he always has to create a standard to like please women, which is like,
That's really creepy.
yeah,
I will, speaking as a guy, I feel like there is a harsh standard towards men about how they are supposed to look and present themselves. And I say this as a very effeminate man. Like, if you were to see me and Megan in our regular day-to-day life, we are very similar in a lot of ways. All of my
It's true.
friends growing up were female. Like, I grew up surrounded by females, and I'm more of an effeminate man.
I was like, and I will say, like, one of them is like being cleanly shaven every day. Nothing wrong with that if you want to do that and keep that as a part of your daily routine. I have nothing against it personally, but like generally when I have like talked to those type of men, that's like one of the first things they point out is that whatever figure is in their life wants them to stay cleanly shaven every day.
Clean shaven.
Certain outfit too. Like generally, it's like a nice pair of slacks and like polo shirt or like nicely pressed clothes and things like that.
I think that's very interesting.
Yeah,
There,
they exist.
there is a very much so standard.
The hair
towards
has to be done every day, and nothing wrong if men
Well,
want to do these without, you know,
Like the
without
pressure.
without that pressure. And like you just have that as
Yeah.
part of your routine.
Yeah.
But like for those who do have this as like being pressured onto them, I'm like, I'm sorry for you, but also at the same time it's kind of weird. I don't know. But you are typically respectful men too, but you also have a lot of shit going on in your life. And you don't know what you're doing with yourself, and then you throw off the other person because you haven't figured yourself out. So just figure yourself out.
So, speak more of this as like the male's perspective. Like,
Wait, can I insert what I think
Yeah,
about
go
you?
ahead.
Okay, there's only one real rule that I enforce one Sean, which is keep himself healthy, and then the other one is if you want to kiss me, you have to be at least somewhat freshly shaven
or cuddle.
or cuddle, because Jonah has mentioned how like if you really keep your beard soft and like there's like ways to maintain it. This one doesn't. I just have to throw him under the bus.
No, my facial hair that grows is not very good.
Soft, and like I know that there are ways that he could, but I just also know that
I don't invest in that.
he doesn't
I
invest
don't.
in that.
I don't like having facial hair. It's too scratchy.
So that's like my only rules with him. Like otherwise, you can do whatever the f you want. You want to grow out your hair into a man bun? You go boo. You want to get your hair cut? You go boo.
Mhm.
But like,
Sorry, very side tangent here. My job approved of me dyeing my hair whatever color I want.
yes.
Woo! Purple hair again, maybe.
But anyways, back to male expectations, which is I'm considering this email more on female. And
Yeah.
Anyways,
Usually we have all the expectations.
there are a fair amount of expectations on men, kind of women that they are supposed to go out with, how they are supposed to look or interact with the world. Like you say, like the clean-shaven, nice clothes type deal. I will say, in my experience growing up as a guy, I see less of that, and I feel more of the athletic pressure, more of the toned body pressure. The very stereotypical attractive guy, the Captain America facade, basically.
I just want to go on another side tangent adding on to that. Typically, men that are also pushed into those type of positions, though, I realize, they only want to be with me in secret because whoever is pushing them wants them to be with what is considered an attractive woman, which is so fucked.
But
Like, I'm a plus-size girl. You know, it sucks. I already have to deal with that pressure.
But we love you anyway.
I know.
but like
And I love all this, too.
obviously catfishing is bad. But if you look at like the people who are doing the catfishing, who are the most likely people to do it? The geeks, the
Me.
nerds,
I'm kidding. I don't.
like the stereotypical unattractive people.
Howard from Big Bang Theory.
Yes, the Howards from Big Bang Theory.
Sorry, I just don't like Howard.
But like they do that because of the societal pressure. They feel like they can't get with a woman otherwise, or at least women that they're supposedly supposed to be dating because there's so
We're
much
back
emphasis.
on the trend now.
Who? Howard's?
Geeks and
Oh, yeah.
nerds, yeah.
Like there's so much societal pressure about like the guy has to be with a Barbie, you know, and
Yeah,
the
we all
geeks
want to
and
be with
nerds.
Margot Robbie. I know.
The geeks and nerds. I'm saying this because I'm a big geek. I can say it. You know they themselves are put into this culture of they can't do it on themselves, and it's one of those places where I feel like encouraging men and empowering men to truthfully respect women, but also like have their own confidence and break that stereotype has very much lacked. You know,
I also
because generally catfishing, lying about yourself, is a terrible idea. There's countless reasons why it's a bad idea.
also those who have like very low mental, like poor mental health, generally lie about themselves as well. That's one thing I've definitely noticed through my experience of talking to men and women. It's just those who have really bad mental health generally lie about themselves.
So,
Work on yourself too. Like, if you want to like be in a relationship with someone, you have to be willing to work on yourself.
yeah.
There's
So-
nothing more attractive than a person who already loves himself and is ready to give out love to someone else. Or like,
Has that little
AKA
share.
apparently not Mr. Chef.
AKA not the guy at Barnes & Noble.
For those of you who don't know, we have a person that we used to be acquainted with who was overall very not a good guy.
Misogynistic.
Sexist.
To put it in layman's terms. But we recently found out they work out at Barnes & Noble.
We found this out a long time ago, though, because I told you guys, because I went to Barnes & Noble, and I was like, hey, it's the Barnes & Noble dude is working at Barnes & Noble.
Oh my gosh, we went in yesterday to go get
Yeah.
the book.
I was told.
And we saw him, and he ran away from us as quick as possible. I was like, hey.
Here's how I found out he worked at Barnes & Noble, though. Well, I also found out from being in the store, but he also had it on his Tinder. And he's like, if you date me, I can get you a 15% discount at Barnes & Noble. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I can get that already.
But yeah, there's a guy who works at Barnes & Noble that we just really don't like. There have been some bad history between us. So.
Yeah, he also dated, a part of this friend group. Me and Sean also kind of entered this friend group, and then this friend group kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And me and my roommate, we were also in this friend group, and then Barnes & Noble dude dated my roommate, and then
Not a good match for anyone.
no, and she was very creeped out because
Barnes & Noble dude is very creepy in general.
yeah.
I used to be best friends with Barnes & Noble dude. Where did I go wrong?
Nothing. He just showed his true colors.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He lied, and then his colors came out.
Oh
He
my God.
catfished.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Anyway, back to the episode, Zack and
Yeah.
Cody.
We got on wide a tangent on that one.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Maggie did catfish.
Yeah, she totally did catch a catfish.
Do you think
The only time to catfish is on, I don't know, job applications. So just building myself up a little bit more,
Honestly, that is pretty acceptable.
Yeah.
do you think
Your
Maddie
LinkedIn
is-
profile.
I don't have a LinkedIn profile.
Oh, we need to get you one.
do you think that Maddie's lie was really that big of a lie?
I think
Like, it was never a topic of conversation. It was just an assumption he had that she kind of played along with that was never confirmed nor denied. It was just an assumption.
It was definitely one. This is one, I think we probably all have fallen into at some point in our life.
that we lie that we're filthy rich.
No, definitely not that we're filthy rich, but it's where someone has perceived something about you and you kind of just go on with it.
You see, I think it wouldn't,
And then you kind of slowly release the truth that I'm not. No.
I think it wasn't bad when she went to the concert with, yeah, she went to the concert and it wasn't that big a deal. It was when she was like, yeah, I totally live.
Also, it was an Usher concert.
It was
concert.
Y'all, I actually saw Usher live in concert for free.
I
In
forgot
Orleans.
you told me about this.
I'm jealous. I had the biggest child crush on Usher. He was my everything.
Listen, he was amazing in concert. I would show you guys pictures, but I no longer have access to them.
Fair.
Anyway, I don't think Maddie going to the concert was that bad in scheme of the lie. I think when she starts playing into
Being
the
rich.
lifestyle, I think that's where she goes wrong. I study a lot of moral philosophy in my downtime. So when I'm not being a teacher or not sleeping or eating, and one of the major philosophy people that I really like reading is Kant. And he is a person who's you should not lie for any reason. And I don't necessarily agree with him, but I tend to think that it's better to tell the truth 99% of the time than to lie. And I have been in situations where it was safer to lie than to tell the truth. And in this situation, Maddie can be like, oh no, London is just a friend, acquaintance, and I just got to benefit from her lifestyle for a day.
I mean, I think Maddie, her fear was justified.
It's a guy she's never gonna see again.
Not necessarily. But the reason I say it's a little justified is because look at what was happening. She met this guy. She really didn't care for, but then she started to learn about him.
He recycles. It was so hot.
Like, they did start building that relationship, and she was scared of ruining it. Like, when you're building up a brand new relationship like that, you're scared of something going wrong like that. And he had this assumption, and, you know, like, you don't want things to go bad. You're building up something good. He's a really nice guy, but he has this assumption of you. It's hard to be like, well, shit. You know? So I feel like Maddie was justified. And obviously it wasn't that big of a deal. She was embarrassed, and Carrie consoled her with the awkward guy in the elevator. But, like, I feel like it's regular old teenage drama and not the biggest thing in the world.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up this last little bit of Zack and Cody. I was trying to think of a final question to land on.
Who's better, Zack or Cody?
I think they're both lovely. I am still not 100% sure which characteristics I remember are Zack and which ones are Cody, because I get them flip-flopped on my brain all the time. I'm like, wasn't that a Zack thing?
I think I always cared more for Cody.
I was more of a Zack guy growing up.
I think it's really interesting because I've seen it more Sweet Life on Deck than I have Zack and Cody itself. And they were like two like totally different people. Like in like this little baby show. I mean, like Cody is smarter, but it's more like academic, barely. And then Zack is more like cool guy, barely. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And Sweet Life on Deck, it's like Cody's like a really smart nerd who just likes all the nerd things, and Zack's like, I just want to flunk school and think. In a Disney Channel way, you know?
Well, people, go, if you're watching on YouTube, go to the community section and vote who you guys think is better, Zack or Cody.
Or Megan.
And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or another service that we stream on, go on our poll on Spotify and see who you guys think is better, Zack or Cody.
Or Megan. Megan will not be added to either of these polls.
You should have the option to add other and then put in line specifically Megan.
No.
I can add a line for Megan.
I was kidding.
Okay, we'll omit Megan.
Thank you.
But
Can we add Casper Megan?
Casper Megan.
Photoshop Megan.
Yes! Photoshop Megan is going in.
Okay. Maybe the one where I just sit here and go.
Okay. Well, with that,
Keep Megan.
I think there's only one thing left to say, right?
Ready? We've been practicing.
Bye, everyone.